Yeah,
we can make that. All right. Tell me this Laker rumor, the center. Which
you
one?
Ready? All right, so this is a proposal that was floated by Bill Simmons.
Wait a minute. Bill Simmons?
Sure.
The Celtics fan?
Sure.
Okay, hold on.
Don't worry, he's crying somewhere on Zach Lowe's podcast.
Let me stand up for this.
Yeah.
Okay, go ahead.
The Lakers would receive the artist formerly known as Joel Embiid.
The artist formerly known as a bit harsh.
The 76ers would receive Rui, Gabe Vincent, Maxi Kleber, Jared Vanderbilt, Shake Milton, and 2 first-round draft picks.
Outside of Rui, I think I'd be okay with that to get better.
Are you better?
Huh?
Are you better?
Well, that side of it, the trade pieces outside of Rui, I think I'd be okay with that. Now, if you're
a guy that never plays and is perpetually overweight, we already have one of those.
I haven't got there yet about him. Yeah. I mean, for a big, I think that's what it's going to take to get a big.
Haul like that.
A haul like the outside of Rui, okay, that makes sense. Now,
probably need Rui in there for the money.
Of course.
Yeah.
But for the guy, for Embiid, now let's have a discussion here. It's the same as Clipper fans had with Kawhi. Okay, when this guy is right, he's MVP level. He's a big.
Go
I know.
on.
When he's right, he's one of the best centers in the game.
Okay.
The problem is he hadn't been right for long, and he ain't right now.
Nope.
And I don't know if he's ever going to get right again.
So, DeMarco, what's the farthest he's gone in the playoffs?
Kawhi beat him, right? That was it.
It was the Eastern Conference semifinals.
Yeah.
The second round is the farthest he's gone. He's been an MVP. That was also in 2019.
When was Kawhi last good?
The end of this season. But your point is a good one. The difference is Kawhi Leonard won an NBA title multiple times. Joel Embiid has never been out of the second round of the playoffs.
Never been, okay, but clearly when this guy is right, you've seen him play. He's a problem. He's a matchup problem. Who do you got that can shoot like that or defend him? I don't know when he's right. Now, the thing is, he's not right. He's hurt. He's beat up. And he could be a problem. If you do sign him, you may never see him. Like Zion, he may just disappear on you. But, like I said, using the Kawhi argument, people were ready to throw him out the door until he played this postseason and everything changed. So, I don't know. I mean, we talked about it a couple of weeks ago. Why not Embiid?
Because he never plays. And honestly, to me, it's Joel Embiid is let me rephrase, was a remarkable talent. Joel Embiid was an MVP. Joel Embiid has had moments in the NBA where he has been fantastic. Those have been very few and far between recently.
Yeah.
He is very expensive. He would cause, to make all the money line up, you would have to send, like that haul right there, a lot going out to create enough space. Not necessarily because that's his value, but that's his value on a spreadsheet.
If he's right, it solves a lot of issues, though.
But if he's right is not easy to just blow past.
No, but
if he's right is a huge if he's right.
But
because if he's wrong, you are exactly where you were with fewer guys.
But if he's right and you wanted to keep Luka, AR, and LeBron together, if you believe that's your big three, that could kind of solve your defensive liabilities with those two cones out there, so to speak.
I would.
But that's if. That's a big fat if.
For the hills before I'd make this trade, because you know what they need. And honestly, they need a big body for sure. We both agree on that. They need a big that can go out there and protect the rim and take some of the pressure off of that perimeter defense. So when Luka does get beat, when AR does get beat, when LeBron does get beat,
there's
and
rim
they
protection.
will, there's some protection back there. But it has to be somebody that plays. That's the variable can't be your availability.
And I don't know if he's going to play. I don't.
The variable might be your skill level.
Yeah.
The variable might be your 3-point shooting percentage. The variable might be your ability to, mesh into some of these offense. The variable cannot be, hey, I may never play.
Where he plays or not.
And that's the variable with him.
I'm not going to fight you over that. I mean, you're right. But I mean, like I said, if he's right, he's a perfect fit. But we don't know. This feels like Bachelor for the Lakers.
It does.
For interviewing centers.
It really does.
Yeah, no Rose for you. Yeah.
It's so difficult to find a center that is there every day. I mean, we look at the Celtics last night, and Kristaps Porzingis left, I believe, halfway through the game, had an illness. He has been either a part of their playoffs off and on since he's been there. And it's very difficult to find a center that is there every day and that is competent every day. And John was talking to us yesterday on Mason Island about...
Never heard of it.
Steven Adams and his he would not be the every single second of a game big for the Lakers. He would be there.
Yeah.
He would be there when it would be Jackson Hayes hand in hand, something else. He wouldn't be an everyday starter.
No, the rim protection, toughness, the whole nine. He'd be the sheriff out there. The dog we were talking about. He's a different sort of dog, but he still bites.
No, no, he might not be as much of a live wire.
He doesn't bark a lot, but
some of those other guys. But
yeah,
he's a guy that everybody in that league understands. I don't mess with that guy.
I would love a Steven Adams.
That would be
awesome.
interesting.
And he's cheaper, and he's potentially more reliable.
So maybe Steven Adams is kind of the archetype of what we're talking about, but I don't want to put anybody's name on it necessarily. But I think where Laker fans and frequently Laker executives have kind of lost their way is they're looking at the bright, shiny object. Russell Westbrook is a good example of this. Joel Embiid is a good example of this. That, yes, they have won MVPs, but does this fit your team? Is the variable something that you can possibly work around? And the answer with those guys to me is no. It could be somebody far less sexy. It could be somebody that is much more of a C+, B- level player, but that is going to be much more reliable than somebody that on their best day, can they be an A? Yeah, but do they have a lot of best days left anymore? I don't know.
No,
that mid-tier guy, that's the guy. Look, if you can land a megastar that's great, go do it. But that's really hard to do. They're very expensive to acquire. Build a team. Build a roster that is not necessarily the thing that's going to win you the press conference on any given day, but something that builds you a championship quality team. They need a big guy. They need more perimeter defense. They need to be deeper. This guy's a name that we've seen on TV. This is a guy that is good, search engine optimization stuff. It's like, no, find a guy that fits to what you're doing really well. Well, that's what they need to do.
But he does. He's just hurt. When you're talking about Embiid, he's hurt a lot. He really does. If you put him on a healthy Embiid, a guy that's guaranteed to be healthy with Luka, with LeBron, with AR, you're third seed and up, and possibly a 1 seed with that sort of talent.
You're also possibly dead in the water.
And there's
no
way in the world I would do it. There's no way in the world I would do it, especially if I'm Rob Pelinka, because all arrows are pointing towards you when you talk about Westbrook and what you got and what you had to give up.
Well, this is the offseason.
I wouldn't make that
Rob.
move if I'm him.
No,
hell no.
It's a terrible idea.
Yeah, you don't have enough equity to trust that.
If there's a way, and I don't know if there is, they're probably just kind of thinking of it out loud, to get a player like that has some really significant upside if all of these variables break your way and it doesn't cost you a lot to try it. Sure, but I don't think he's that guy. This is an incredibly important offseason for Pelinka because there isn't that, hey, man, we're kind of in no man's land with LeBron. You're no longer in no man's land. You have Luka Doncic. You are in the middle of one of the best players in the league's prime. He is the center pole.
I wouldn't want to be the guy that wastes it.
Right, right.
No, absolutely not.
And your needs are pretty obvious.
Big.
This is not something like, well, maybe a little of this, a little of that. You need a big body in the middle, and you need to be deeper on your wings.
You still got to be able to pull it off and figure out the guy and identify who that is. And like you said, there's going to be talks about everybody. I'm surprised we didn't talk about Giannis first.